below 0.7 gigabits. Issues. We have to consider if we use more bandwidth in the future that we need more bandwidth to the single AS to the single IP uplink providers with the AS numbers, because load traffic management and traffic shaping using the BGP protocol is a very complicated task. Therefore, we will try next year to get more bandwidth from the uplink providers. What we have, getting bigger ports here, I mentioned this. Core switch, router switch, this was our endpoint of connectivity. As you have seen, we have a lot of redundancy inside the IP uplink. We have only one single core router. Maybe we should try to get a second one in the future. Core routers offsite, meaning we have a lot of BGP traffic offsite. We have only traffic coming inside. We do not do BGP here in the house. Meaning if we taking down the network, we only have to move all stuff from this building to the suppliers back again this year, and can take down the network in the outside world in 3rd of January, so that we have more time, maybe have party. And the second thing is insurance. It's much cheaper to have these boxes standing outside and not inside. Okay, outlook. Maybe from my side for IP uplink is we have the camp next year, 2007. Maybe the new phrase, there's fiber to the curb, but I changed a little bit, fiber to the camp. We should try to get also a fiber connection to the campsite. Maybe a gig or maybe a 10 gig link uplink. And the interesting part will be which distribution layer we will install there. But it's not my main focus, it's more the focus of Niels. Maybe you can tell us later on something about it. I think I'm finished now. And we'll hand over.
Sticker campaigns. It takes the form of text that uses original words.
All right. For the next few minutes, I'll be talking about the BCC, the network we built inside the BCC, hardware we deployed, switches we installed, how much traffic actually ran over it, things we encountered on the way here, and have some pretty graphs at the end to entertain you further. So, from the user point of view, I think for most people, the internet connectivity at the BCC looked like this. They connected either via cable or via the wireless network to the internet. This is a simple diagram. As we go down the OC layer, as we descend down the OC layer, it gets slightly more complicated. This is the IP layer. This is not that tricky. We have a couple of VLANs all connected to a central core router that was upstairs on the D level above the circus hall. It had 10 gig outgoing, it had gigabit links outgoing to the outside world, to the internet, via a variety of routers that were discussed by Stefan Wahl a few minutes ago. There were links to various places, either directly or via another set of switches that, of course, are not in the IP layer diagram. So, layer 2, I had to keep scaling down these graphics that Arjen made, for which my large gratitude. This shows how the devices were all connected. We had HP switches that you obviously have seen outside, undoubtedly. We had Force10 switches in closed-off areas. We had E300 switches from Force10 with 10 gig uplinks. We had S50 switches from Force10, which is a 1U pizza box type facility, to service aggregation switches in 2 places. And we had some Cisco switches in various closets around the place. This is too big of a picture. It doesn't fit. This is about 2/3 of it. This drawing has everything in it in the whole building. There's patch panels. There's how many patches go from where to where. There is how many patches go from various places in the building. How many are in use. How many we would like to use. How many various other special interest groups at the Congress would like to use. The only thing missing from here, there's also IP address information in here, which is just outside the screen. Otherwise, this would really be unreadable. The only thing that's missing in here is what interfaces actually connect where. but we would need a really, really big printer to get all that information. If you print it out in a readable format, it's about this big. And yes, we did that. The special interest groups that we serviced at the Congress are co-location. People were invited to bring their own server if they had something to share with the community. We placed this behind the help desk in level A. Freifunk had their own VLAN. I don't think they actually got this running. I tried to take a picture of the fiber they ran to a building across the street, but by then it was already gone, unfortunately. Sputnik, the RFID tagging system, all these devices had their own network, were in a separate VLAN apart from everything else, unreachable from the outside world. And yeah, the CBAS fiber and wireless link, part of Freifunk. I give the floor to Elisa.
The co-location area. Some of you might have had servers in there. Behind the help desk in La Ville A, in the hack center, we located a couple of servers, patched them to a 1 gig uplink to the E300 for send switch, and then via a 10 gig E-link upstairs to the core router. It was pretty hot in this room. The POC guys actually measured the temperature. I think it was 30 degrees all the time. This is our server park. Located in level D, we had the kind of a room in level D where we were sitting and configuring the stuff, and the core router was also in level D. And we had to connect this stuff to the core router, but we don't really have enough rack space there, so we just stacked it all together. Yeah. D57, that is next to the server park actually, and all the patches from the core router are going over that patch panel, which is an in-house patch panel. So all the time we relied on the in-house infrastructure, because we had to patch stuff from downstairs to upstairs to the core router over the in-house infrastructure.
So
here.
in this picture, most of the orange and all of the blue cabling is ours. The orange cabling are fibers, the blue is mostly copper.
And the yellow stuff is from the BCC?
Yeah.
Same here, which is one floor lower. That was in C57, where all the patches, part of the patches for level B and level C end up there. So all the patch HP switches and cables coming out of the walls everywhere on the hallways in B and C are mostly connected over that. The power, actually the yellow cables you see in here and the power thingies there are from the RFID crew. They needed some special cabling, and we patched them exactly the ports where the RFID finders were plugged into. So all this stuff is from them.
Those power blocks are converted Sony Ericsson chargers that they bought for 50 cents each or something.
Yeah.
They inject power over a few wires. Bit of a hack.
That is the Force 10. Below that, that is the same room, huh? Yeah, that's the same room. The HP switches were connected via the Force 10, and yeah, not enough rack space everywhere, so it was just standing there, configured on different VLANs we had on this levels, B and C. That is the E300 Force 10 standing in the Hack Center next to the co-location. Actually, this gray cable coming from the left corner, that's the co-location. All the blue cables are patches in the Hack Center and on level A. Also, the RFID people there again with the power, and yeah, mostly blue and yellow cables are ours. So that was the Force 10 hardware. We had a second one, E300 from Force 10, which was in the other room on level A, 87. That was connected to the IP uplink. On top of it, the Juniper. Stefan just mentioned how the uplink was working from there on. And next to that is the versatile rack standing in the same room, and on top of that was the fiber device we used to get our 10 gig E, 12 gig E in the end out of the building. The movie.
How can a presentation be complete without blinking lights?
Yes.
It's making noise here, but probably not audible for you, so whatever.
So Niels made that movie, and it's kind of funny because you can play it forwards and backwards, and it looks exactly the same, and you don't even... And even the sound is the same, you don't hear a difference. Is it looping?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I should... Okay, the heart. The core router on level D, where all the stuff on the pictures before ends up upstairs, coming from this patch panels on the left next to it. The stuff on the right was going to the server park. And this Foundry RX was routing all the things inside here of the building. Inter-VLAN routing and yeah.
Right. So these are all the links that we had in use in the building. 3 times 10 gig SR, which runs over multimode. The whole building is full of multimode with ST connectors. 1 10 gig ER outside, 1000 base SX in C57 mostly, and to link to the wireless, and to link to the Juniper downstairs to the core router upstairs. 1 LX out of the building. About 100,000 base T ports, 2 various HP switches, all connecting to the core routers, and all the servers were connected to 1000 base T. And outside, people were able to plug into, give or take, 3,000 1000 base T ports. We had some issues during this Congress and in the run-up to this Congress.
So the first 10 hardware was... Most of the hardware was supposed to be delivered on the day when before we could start building up the network here. So we started on the 23rd, and the 22nd was the last Friday before Christmas, and we arranged all the things to be delivered on the 22nd. I got a call from Forstan on the 22nd in the afternoon. The stuff is still in London. So we had a little issue on the London airport because of the foggy weather there. The plane couldn't leave, and our hardware was still standing in London. So on the next day, Forstan was talking to FedEx, who actually delivered the stuff for a couple of times. They really put a lot of effort into that. The guys were actually already on holidays when they did that. So in the end, somehow they arranged it to deliver this thing on Christmas Eve. It ended up somehow in Berlin, and it was delivered in the end to Paris and Frankfurt. I do believe they had to put it on a train or something like that because the plane wasn't leaving from Heathrow Airport. But we got the hardware on time, and without the Forstan stuff, we couldn't have done the 10 gig links between all the floors in that building here. The servers also were kind of late because...
The people were late.
Because the people
They left late.
They left late. They had to work, and they only arrived. They brought the stuff here, but with their own car, so it ended up here in the building on the day before the Congress, which was the 26th? The 26th. So we started installing all the services like DNS and DHCP and everything else pretty much on the evening before the Congress started. But the evening before the Congress started was already, sort of a Congress evening, because a lot of people were already here and using some stuff. So
the line for the tickets, for the cash system was already hundreds of meters long, for example, and quite some tickets were being sold, quite some people already in the building. And the DHCP server was running on a Forstan switch, because that was the best we had at the time.
I think we changed that on the 27th, on the first Congress day. Actually, we set up all the servers and everything was running on our server farm you saw before.